Peace and blessings. Vibe Tribe is on once again. Pele movement. We focus on your spiritual, your physical, and your financial well-being. I'm so excited for our special guest that we have today, our good sister Nayyirah. She is the founder of Repair of the Black Family Incorporated. And as we all know, when your mind is out of control, your life is out of control. So today, family, we're going to be talking about mental health, but we'll be right back after. Thank you so much for tuning in, family, to the Pele movement ministry. Again, today we're going to be talking about alternative solutions for mental health. And as we all know that there's a lot of chaos going on in the world, so I thought it was very befitting to have our sister Nayyirah Muhammad come on because she is a subject matter expert in the arena of alternate solutions for mental wellness, dealing with mental wellness. She has been doing it for some time now. She definitely have her credentials. Okay, so I want to run it down to you all real quick and give you her backdrop on what her background is. Okay, so Sister Nayyirah Muhammad, an inspired visionary, is the founder of Repair of the Black Family Incorporated. She is a dynamic speaker, spiritual advisor, transformational life coach, master retreat leader, active member and captain. How you say that word? Emeritus?
Emeritus.
Okay, emeritus of the Nation of Islam. She inspires and motivates those she serves to experience total transformation through the example of her purpose-driven life. Sister Nayyirah specializes in releasing generational trauma patterns and stories through her keen intuition. Her goal is to use her life experiences and training and re-education and reformation to help bring one from the darkness into the light. She strives to enlighten and works daily to help repair the Black family and humanity. Let's be clear, and humanity. All right. She has spoken to thousands of listeners, worked with many faith-based organizations, youth groups, community leaders, volunteers in schools. She has shared the stage with the train as a certified speaker of Les Brown. Now, I just wanted to read that backdrop to you to understand that who you're listening to on tonight, she is skilled in what she's doing. And as I always tell you all, we only bring qualified personalities on this platform. Sister Nayyirah, how are you doing this evening, my good sister?
I am absolutely wonderful. I want to thank you and your whole movement, because it is a movement, right?
Hey.
Us here with the Repair of the Black Family, just to be able to have that heart-to-heart chat, to get a message out to the people.
Yes.
Because of the hour that we're living in, every word counts for us, right?
That's
Every
right, sis.
word count. And so I pray tonight that I'm able to share something that will count to help, help with the salvation of our people and humanity.
Wonderful. Now, I have read your story before. It is so powerful. I've actually heard your story before live too, as well, because you and your husband, my wife and I, all of us had linked up in Miami, Florida, at an event that was held many years ago now, and it was a very, very, very powerful story. I remember you was talking about your childhood, and I read your story as you shared it on social media, as you're so transparent about your life. And I see how now you're a light in this world. Mm-hmm. And now that Nayyirah that I heard about many years ago is certainly not the Nayyirah that we all listen to on today. So so please tell us the backdrop about your journey from point A to the person that we know today. Like, what transpired that transformed you in the person that you are today from being pretty much traumatized to being victorious?
Beautiful question. Loaded, but beautiful.
Ah, hey, we gotta give it to him.
Well, first and foremost, before I get started, I'm just very happy that, I have my husband to support me. I never want to leave him out, right?
That's
So,
right.
shout out to my
King
husband.
David Muhammad was good, bruh.
Yes, he's always there. And the woman that you see now and the woman that's becoming, it has a large part to do with, my husband that supports me. And so when I look back over my story, and we all have a story, right? When I
Yes,
look
we
back
do.
over my story and I think about the love of my parents, my mother having me at 17, my father wasn't too much older than her, and them trying to raise 5 children as young adult teenagers themselves and not really having the resources that they needed, right?
Mm-hmm.
To raise a family, in particular, starting with me, right? Because I'm the oldest. And I think back over their story, how I've heard my mother talk about her being a latchkey child, which means pretty much she had to, do it herself. My daddy, from him being hurt, he got hurt as a track star, and he had a failed dream in his life, which led him to drugs and alcohol. You see what I'm talking about? I'm talking about conditions now, right?
Yes.
As you asking me how did I get from point A to where I'm at now? I had to go through conditions of life of my parents, right, of what they went through, which affected me as a child growing up in a household where domestic violence was real, right? And so
Yes.
taking that pain, watching my parents go through what they go through, drugs in the household, was real. So I didn't know how to express myself. So
Mm-hmm.
I took that suppressed anger, that suppressed low self-esteem, being labeled as a teen dropout when really I just had problems at home, being misunderstood, right? Going to school being misunderstood because people thinking that I'm quote unquote bad, but the reality of it is I was hurt. Makes sense?
It
So
do.
here it is. I'm going through childhood, going through these different things, and having my different pivotal points. We all have pivotal points in our lives, right? And one of the major pivotal points is losing my brother at the age of 4. And I was right there. I seen that. I seen when he got hit by that car. And nobody asked me how I felt. And I lived with blame, shame, guilt, right? From a child, going all the way up, other different pivotal points. But another pivotal point was when my father laid down his life in prison. Come on now. I was right there. So you see how these losses are connected to one another. And so with that being said, I modeled behavior patterns that I seen growing up. Lots of love. My mom taught us how to love. My dad taught us what they knew to be love. But it was those conditions, those dysfunctional conditions that I began to dramatize in my life. So here it is. I married my high school first person I was with in high school, and he wasn't just fighting me. Come on now, I was fighting him too. Okay, learn behavior.
Wow.
And so, with that being said, that ended up in a divorce, got remarried. But at some point in this transition, my dear brother, I got sick and tired of being sick and tired, right?
Wow.
So I was looking for God. He was always with me, but I was looking how to serve him. I knew God, but I didn't know his ways, if that made sense.
Oh yeah.
Meaning I
Makes a
knew
lot of sense.
that he was real. I knew that he was present in my life, but I didn't know how to show up for him. I didn't know how to live my life according to how Christ wanted me to live. I went to church, but I didn't know how to apply that which I was learning. Makes sense?
Sure
So
do.
it was routine. I was in routines. And so with that being said, how did I get to the point where I'm at now? I got to the point where I'm at now because I heard the voice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And with that,
All
I
praises be.
accepted, all praises due to Allah, I accepted the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad that gave me what I was looking for, and that was how to walk the path with God, how to walk with him, not just love him, but follow him, follow his ways, pick up my own cross, deny myself, and then follow him. So I was able to get the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And that was my first transformation where I would say in my life, it made a difference, that I knew that I was walking with Christ. When I was able to learn how to, and still is, learn how to be a wife, right? Learn how to be a mother. I'm getting the application of walking with the God, learning how to love myself for real, for real.
No doubt.
Right?
No
The
doubt.
knowledge of self, the knowledge of God, the knowledge of the open enemy, the knowledge of the time and what must be done was and is the transformative pivotal point in my life coming through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And then, as I would tell everybody, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan blessed me with life twice. He called me to the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and gave me a tool. So not only do I follow God and do my best to serve him, but I get to go deep and get out the root causes of my pain so I can truly sit before you. And I'm not faking the funk. I'm really happy. Come on now. Come on now. Right? I'm really happy because I sat up and I stood up and I do the work. Not just for me to be happy every day, understanding the mind, understanding the trauma, the drama, the self-sabotaging behavior patterns, but being able to do something and get rid of that pain.
You know what? Let's talk about that, good sister. Let's talk about what that looks like in regards to, what you had to do in detail, if you will, to be able to overcome the traumatic things that you had actually went through in your life. Was it meditation? Was it some breathing exercises, counting from 1, 2, 3? Talk to us about the methodology that you actually utilized that had actually helped you to go on the inside and to help you to evolve into this beautiful light we see today.
Well, yes, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome, my sister.
Yes, sir. Well, the first and foremost, I have to say this is that truly I had to cry out to Allah, God. I had to cry out in order I had to cry out to him specifically of what I needed. You heard that? What I needed individually. And what I needed was I needed deliverance from the pain of my father leaving me. Right? I had this social veneer where for 10 years I was walking around looking like I'm happy, going through life, but the true reality of it is I was suffering in silence. And so when Minister Farrakhan gave us this tool, Dianetics, the modern science to mental health, it was the answer that I needed for my prayer. And so I had to first acknowledge that help had arrived. I had to acknowledge that, sometimes we can get help, but we still say, I'm good. You see,
okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Let's talk about
I had to be vulnerable. I had to be vulnerable to say, okay, my help has arrived because I was able to see what this tool was doing for others. Then I had to put myself through a process. And that process did not look like anything that I had ever experienced before. So I had to put myself through a process of study. I had to learn something that was totally new. And then I had to look at how did it fit for me. And to learn this, look at this, that you have a rational mind and an irrational mind, and it lines up with scripture, that a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. And most of the time I was dramatizing this irrational mind. No, I put myself through a process to be able to get rid of that irrational mind, get rid of that insanity, which means I had to go through day-to-day counseling under a system that most of our people reject and deny. No medication, right? None of that. just sitting down, talking to somebody, and somebody listening to me.
I love
Being
what you said.
heard.
I
Being
love what
heard.
you said. I love what you said because talking is very therapeutic because
Mm-hmm.
it helped me. It helped me when I went to a psychologist as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to decompress.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to release because that person is not in the position of being the offender.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, and it seemed like sometime when you approach the person that you have the issue with, they become offended, and then and it becomes a like an atomic bomb. It gets ugly.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so beautiful to be able to go talk to a counselor like yourself, who's just a mediator, who is not the offender.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, and you don't have to be concerned about it turning into an argument, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're able to actually release that what's inside of you, you know, instead of holding it in, and now you're like a walking emotional ticking bomb that if somebody looks at you wrong, step on your shoe, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
you know it's a little deeper than that, and we all know that it can't be just because you stepped on their shoe. You know
No.
what I'm saying?
No.
It's a little deeper than that. You know, some people they so mean and they're so nasty, and it's because they're internalizing something. And that's why I like what you talked about how you sought after counsel and you couldn't receive help until you asked for help. That's
Yeah.
a beautiful thing. You know, please continue. Let's because you talked about Dianetics. Now I know everybody doesn't know what that is. So what
Mhm.
is Dianetics, please?
Yes. So Dianetics is the modern science to mental health, right? It helps us to understand what the soul is doing to the body. It helps us to understand the rational mind and the reactive mind, which means the analytical mind and the reactive mind, meaning you have two minds that control your everyday, day to day walk in life. And so Dianetics is a form of therapy where a person actually go and they have a conversation with a person like me, a counselor like me, because I'm trained in this. And this person actually listens and compute, as we've already identified it before. They do not evaluate for you. They don't tell you what's wrong. They actually help you to solve your own problems. Now, what makes it different from any other forms of therapy that's out there? It helps you to understand how the mind works, right? Which means your mind is going to continuously put forth pictures and show you these pictures. And according to these pictures is how you are going to respond in life. Most of us are responding not just from the pictures of present time, but your pictures of the past. If you think about it, most times when you're upset or you're angry, like you said, you could be talking to somebody right now, but that comes back from your past incident. Oh, that person reminded you of so and so. So now I don't trust nobody. I don't trust you
That
because
sounds like an Usher moment.
right.
You remind me.
I don't trust you because you just like so and so. No, 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 no. When you go through this process, it gets rid of not just your things from the past, but I mean your things from now, but those things that remind you of your past. So it's the modern science to mental health. It's an alternative solution. It's a holistic approach.
Wonderful. That was a very good description about what it is. Let's get rid of the shade that's thrown on Dianetics. We don't want to away from it. We like to keep it real here. So we know that some people have an issue with it because of what was said about the founder, Ron Hubbard, right? You know, so if you would please, you know, express that to us, tell us about, you know, his history and whether or not that is true or not.
What was said? Make it more clear for me.
Oh,
So
that he's a racist.
okay. Well,
You
let me
know,
just
like why would we subscribe to using something that a racist person had constructed when you know they their agenda is to keep us enslaved mentally.
I understand what you're saying. Well, I want to approach this from a couple of different ways. All right. First and foremost, just this whole system that we're on, this StreamYard, this, the computers, your phone, we don't know who made these things. We don't know. That's technology, right? Your phone is technology. Your refrigerator is technology. We don't know the person that actually made that, if they're racist or not. We would yet and still we use it. Why? Because it benefits us. We don't care about the maker. We care about the benefits of it. Are you tracking with me?
Absolutely.
Right? Who made your car? Who made the car that you drive? You don't care if the car that you drive was made by a racist. All you know is that car gets you from point A to point B. So I like to look at it from that point, right? If he was a racist, I don't know that because I haven't experienced that in his writings. Makes sense? Like I'm a student, so I study this man's writings. That's number one. And I have not found any racism in his writings. I've only found help in his writings. But what I want to say is this, as it relates to Mr. L. Ron Hubbard. If you truly do a research on his life, this man went around the world and he sat with the tribal people, the native people, to wherever he went. And many of them was Black people. So he was taught by a lot of tribes, Black tribes, and he took those modalities and put them all together and codified it to come up with a technology. You feel me? That
Absolutely.
is literally transforming the minds of the people. And then last and final, and this is true, you can look it up for yourself. Out of all of the people, and I study at the highest of the high at Scientology here in Clearwater. There's people from all around the world. There's not one day that I don't meet somebody from all around the world. But out of all the people that study with Mr. Hubbard, he only has one letter to a group of people, and that group of people is Message to the Black people. And in Message to the Black people, he tells you the Black culture, Scientology, take Scientology and use it amongst your own people. He understood, and he understood through his writings that white people can't necessarily teach Black people. It's Black people who got to help Black people. That don't sound like a racist to me. That sounds like a person that desire for you to do for yourself or suffer the consequences for not doing for yourself by being underneath other people. Make sense?
Absolutely.
So I just want to say this. I didn't walk toe to toe with this man, so I cannot say, accept, or deny that he was a racist. But what I'm saying is, in his writings, I never found anything racist, right? In what I'm studying, it has only been, it's only been freeing, not just for me, but I know it's freeing for my people. Makes sense? And in his writings, he have done a message to Black people. So therefore, to me, by my experience of him, my personal experience, my research, my me knowing of what I've learned of his life, I haven't found him being racist at all.
Thank you so much for clearing the air on that. Very powerful name of the ministry that you have, which is Repair of the Black Family. It actually speaks for itself, but I know that there's a backdrop to the reason why you have been called to that particular work in your life. So talk to us about that. Tell us where the inspiration came from for the name and the backdrop in regards to why the Black family.
Well, first and foremost, me coming into the Nation of Islam gave me the helped me to understand who I am as a Black woman and the need and the necessity for the Black family to be repaired. It is an extension of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, meaning with our foundation, we have taken the tools that we've learned in the nation, the life skills, and we're putting it in a way that it's universal where all people can help it can have it. When it comes to the repair of the Black family from a personal, that's from the teachings, right? But from a personal standpoint, when I look at the dysfunction of my family, what I had to go through, what I seen my mother and father, two people that really loved one another, but they didn't have the tools to make it go right. My parents loved each other. The day that my father was getting ready to, 2 days before my father's left, my mom laid her head on the chest of my father at the request of my dad. They still loved one another. They just didn't know how to get along. Make sense? When I see,
make a lot of sense,
right? When I see what I had to go through as, you know, a girl that loved her father, but her father wasn't able to live in the household with her. When I see, this is me, right? When I see how losses in my family, I physically got ill from it. I was ready for change. Going through a divorce myself, I was ready for change. Experiencing molestation in a family as a young age, I was ready for change. And I know that I'm not the only one that have a story.
Yeah,
Black
sorry to
people,
hear
we
that
got
too,
story.
sis.
Oh, I mean, I'm healed. I come from a healed space. Thank you. I appreciate it. But
You're
I
welcome,
tell my
family.
story because there's one person that's listening to this that don't know how to get out of the trap of that. But I can tell you it was through Dianetics that released me, that I could sit here and there's no emotional attachment to me even saying I experienced molestation in my family. Most women, if they recall anything like that, they feel the pain of that after many years of therapy. So the repair of the Black family, when we've suffered for over 400 years of chattel slavery, and from a DNA level, from a cellular level, we carry that memory. We carry the pain. Most women are disconnected from other women, disconnected from their mothers, because the Black family was intentionally destroyed. We are a tribal people, but coming through the transatlantic slave trade, up until this very point, there was an agenda to destroy the Black family. The enemy, the slave and the slave master's children that is actively involved in keeping us down. We have to be just as active in raising us up. You see? So we got to have a thorough knowledge of ourselves. We got to have an activated plan to save our people. And so for my husband's love, and striving to be an example of what it looks like, not just to repair the Black family, but to repair humanity. Because when you help us, when we heal, the world heals.
Yes,
absolutely. So it's not a Black movement. Here's this, my brother. Black is not a color. It's the essence in which all color comes from. So we're not dealing with the color. We're dealing with the nature of a God. And so we believe that this is a humanitarian movement focused on the Black family, but definitely not limited to us.
Wow, that's absolutely phenomenal. Now, you talked about effective communication. That was definitely something you and I touched on prior to coming on. So I would love for you to touch bases on that, because I recognize that there's a lot of tension between us as a people having discussions, and it ends up becoming a quarrel, you know? So please talk to us about communication, and why is that so important, and how does that play a role in our success as not only just the people, but as you so eloquently spoken, as humanity overall, please.
Absolutely. Well, we definitely have to get to the root cause when it comes to our culture, our people, you know, in the art of war. Anytime the enemy wants to take away something or destroy something, the first thing that's interrupted is communication, right? So with our families being destroyed, we wasn't allowed to talk to one another. We were separated. And so from that that line of breaking up the family, the ability to communicate was destroyed. And so now when you're rebuilding the family, the first thing that we have to do is learn how to be in one another's space. Just sit in the same room. Sit next to somebody. That's affinity. Just to be able to have the ability to like somebody. When you look in a household, you might have two brothers that don't like one another. Two sisters grew up in the same house and do not like one another. Why? Because the communication out in the home wasn't fully established. We stopped somewhere down the line eating dinner at the dinner table with one another.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we got to become real to each other again. Most of us, if you could be in the house with your husband, your wife, and your children, everybody in the living room, and if one person stop and look around, most of the people that's in the living room is on their phone. We're not real to each other, one another as we used to be.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even look one another in the face. We could be riding in the car together, flipping through the phone. So we got to learn how to get back into affinity, liking each other, sharing space, becoming real, learning how to get agreement. Most arguments are rooted in disagreement because we're not real to one another anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You find more reality on the social media than you do with the person that you lay in the bed with.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now you look at, we got to reestablish this communication because there's so many misunderstandings because the communication is down or the affinity is down or the reality is down. But the most important is communication. So in order to get back to understanding one another, we got to increase communication. And there's a formula. See, we got to learn how to use the formula for communication. Begin to establish where you like a person. You just got to like them. Find something that you like about that person and build on that. Find something that's real to you about that person and continue to build on that. Because as a culture of people, it's easy to point out the wrong than it is the right. It's easier to point out the dislike. Oh, get me mad. I'm going to tell you everything I don't like about you. Everything. But when you're right, it's hard for me to compliment you. It's hard for me to say something good about you, and not just to you, to anybody else. Think over this. I'm talking about a cultural condition.
That's so true.
I'm talking about conditions now.
Wow.
That exist in the family. You know, it comes from that light skin, dark skin syndrome. Don't get me started now. Okay. That light skin, dark skin, that long hair, short hair, that skinny, that fat. You understand what I'm trying to say? The north, the south. Okay, here it is. I'm in the city of St. Petersburg. Somebody can judge me just by how I speak. But you don't know what my culture, where I come from. Come on now.
That's right.
You understand? So now we listen according to where we come from. So we've disconnected. So yes, it's important that we got to get back in communication. And it's not just talking. It's ability to perceive one another.
That's right. That is so true. That was very well put together.
Thank you.
That is so true. And I'll tell you what.
And we got to teach our children that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Effective communication between one another. You know, it's a statement that I've heard. It was, I believe it was speak with your words, like use your words. You know how when somebody's trying to explain something and things of that nature, you know, and it's use your words. Use your words. You know, I think sometimes there's assumptions and things of this nature too. Some people walk around and they're holding things in and they assume. that you know what you did, but in all actuality, the person don't even know that they actually hurt you, right? So
And can't communicate it. And can't
exactly.
communicate. And the reason, let me just, if I may share this to you,
Oh,
share
of
this
course you
with you, my
can.
dear brother.
Absolutely.
And we talking about alternative solutions to mental health and why Dianetics is so important. Many of us have these command phrases, right? Use your words. That's because somebody told you to shut up at one point. And with that shut up or be quiet came a painful emotional experience where there was a beating that happened, right? And guess what? That automatically made that person shut up. So you have adult people with the mentality of a child that was forced to be quiet. And they don't know how to break free. It's called them strongholds. They want to, but it's something holding them back. And that's why I love this technology called Dianetics, because it helps you to not just identify it of what's holding you back, but how to unlock yourself, unlock that ability to communicate. So yes, we had to be told, use your words, because in the beginning was the word, but then somebody told us to stop using the words.
That's so true. That's so true. When
By
people express
force.
themselves, I have to concur with what you're saying and bear witness with that, because honestly, that's the reason why I had angry outbursts. Because whenever I tried to express myself and the person didn't like what I was saying, they wanted me to be quiet. So, and this happened when I was in the military. You know what I mean? So it was always, oh, you're being disrespectful to me. You know what I'm saying? After I, you know, try to make a correction on the way they were speaking to me. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, no, you're not just going to talk to me any kind of way and expect me to sit here and just take it, you
Mhm.
know? So whenever I express myself, oh, now I'm the bad guy, so that's one of the reasons why I had to go see the psychiatrist, because I'm a very vocal person. I'm not a quiet person at all. You know what I'm saying? So I have no problem with expressing my feelings towards someone. But you know what the problem was? Is that when I expressed it, in some cases I disrespected people. You see what I'm saying? Because I wasn't effectively expressing myself. I was yelling. You understand what I'm saying? And I thank goodness that I got a praying wife, because I don't know if I still be on this planet called Earth.
I understand the power of the woman.
Because I wasn't a very effective communicator. It's like what you said. I love my wife, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't have good anger management. I didn't have good stress management. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't very good at expressing myself when I was disgruntled. And I would unleash the dragon, and spit fire. You know what I'm saying? And then what happens is, sis, some people, they try to make you feel like, that well, you just can't take it. Oh, you can't take the truth. Oh, you just can't take what I'm saying. But the reality is, they can take the truth and they can take what you're saying in some cases. It's how you're saying it, you know? And if we don't learn how to effectively to deliver what we're saying, marriages end over that. Please talk to me about that.
No,
In
I
your, in
mean,
your
I feel that I understand you, and I understand exactly what you're saying, and I also can see the root cause of why we as a people, that marriages and these different relationships, business-ships, friendships, parentships, why these things happen, because there's an emotional pain that's attached to our cycles of communication, unresolved pain. And so here it is, we're trying to communicate something in present time, but yet and still you may be trying to communicate something with your wife, or I'm trying to communicate something with my husband, but the communication that I'm having right now, it is reminding me of the pain, or reminding you of the pain that you experienced from some bad relationship or some bad experience, and it's coming through. So I'm saying right now that we got to have this emotional, my husband just put it up there, this emotional intelligence. We got to be able to identify where we are, when we're there, but now we are effective with solutions. And the first thing we can do is you got to be able to tap in and get rid of the pain. This is why Dianetics is so important. We cannot have effective communication when it's coming through the lenses of pain, when it's coming through the emotion of pain or hurt or disappointment, or here we go. Listen to this, my brother. Invalidation.
Mm-hmm.
We have been invalidated for so long that even in our normal conversation that we thinking we having a good conversation, there's a lot of invalidation. And we have suppressed invalidation. So now when we want to be heard, guess what? You're not being heard, or you're not able to communicate it because you still are experiencing the invalidation right in that moment. So yes, marriages are being dismantled because who's coming in and showing us how to have effective communication?
That's right. You are absolutely
Who's
correct.
coming in? Who's doing the training? We need training as a people. We need to be reformed. Many of us can rise above emotions, and we get to that point where we know that we are in a process of healing, but let something come back and re-trigger that. Then we right back at square one. And so that's why I appreciate
that is true.
I appreciate Dianetics. I appreciate the tool that I was able to not just get, but utilize, so that our people and whoever uses it, they will totally be free from those things, the hostilities, the travails of the past that's keeping them from being their full potential.
Now, you said tool. Mm-hmm. And one of the tools that you actually have is your book.
Yes.
Let's talk about your book.
Yes. Well, we have the Repair of the Black Family Anthology. I'm so excited about this book. We just made 1 year anniversary with this beautiful book, where you have 33 authors in this book. I am the visionary author. I have 32 co-authors, including my husband, that address the different things that we as a cultural people go through. Anyone can read the book and benefit, but as a family, what we go through, giving our what we went through, the lessons learned, and then here we go, the repair action. How to get over it, how to get through it, how to be able to apply solutions to that which you have gone through. For instance, you have blended families in the book. How do you deal with a blended family? How do you deal with, we have an author in there that talks about postpartum depression. How do you deal with marriages? One of the sisters a sister that wrote in there, she talks about failure is not an option with marriage. How do you get back into communication? Here's one. Listen to this one. How do you recover when your parents have used your credit when you was a child and you grew up with bad credit? Come on now.
Wow. Now that's deep right there.
You grew up with bad. It's a cultural thing, right? Your parents use your credit, and when you turn 18, you can't get credit. How do you recover from that? There's an emotional attachment with that, right?
That sounds like a good book right there, boy.
It's a good book. It's a good book. It's a good book. How do you deal with gun violence when somebody is taken away from you? This is real life stuff, but as you read this book, it's so therapeutic. That's the key. This book is therapeutic. So you're not just reading a book, you're actually experiencing therapy through each author.
That's wonderful. Now, the website that we have up right now, can they go there for those who want to purchase your book to get the book?
Yes. repairoftheblackfamily.com. Absolutely.
Wonderful. Now, also, you have some upcoming events. Let's
Mhm.
talk about the events that you have coming up.
Oh yes, so I have this coming Saturday. I have a mentorship program, a mental mentorship program, and I'm doing that locally for the people that's in my community. Well, I'm starting out with the woman, so I have 15 women that's coming together, and where I'm going to help them to be able to be vulnerable, be transparent, and to basically learn a tool and a technology to heal on purpose. So that's one that we have. And I'm very excited about that because I'm bringing the modern science to mental health to our community to empower us. You know, when the more we learn about mental health, the more we become empowered.
Okay, so you also, as I read your biography, um, you also do the retreats.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, what retreats do you have coming up that is, going out of the country? What you got going on over there? What you up to?
Yes, sir. So we've been blessed, thank God. We've been blessed to do two retreats back to ancient Kemet. And it has been life changing for each and every person that has gone back to sacred land, sacred ground, to reconnect with themselves, reconnect with our ancestral energy, and also to be able to see what our ancestors have done. These are healing retreats that we provide for our foundation, to get a person to, first of all, break that generational fear that you too can travel as well. And so we have one planned for June 2nd through the 8th, going back to ancient Kemet, to be able to, once again, it's called the Ignition, Unleash Your Passion, Your Power, and Your Purpose.
Okay, now do you have any events that's going on local for those who want to get in contact with you? Where are you and how can they get in touch with you?
Absolutely. So, the first thing that I would say is definitely go right now as you're listening to this podcast, go to repairoftheblackfamily.com. Go ahead and subscribe to the website so that you can stay in connection with us. Then also connect with me through social media. My Instagram is sister underscore Nayyirah, Nayyirah. And then also my Facebook page, which is Nayyirah Tavika Muhammad. Connect with me through social media and in my website, and we'll stay connected. Of course, I have a podcast as well, which is Heal on Purpose with Sister Nayyirah, and it's on all major platforms as well.
Okay, wonderful. All right, family. We thank you so much for coming on. For those who enjoy our sister, put some hearts out there, put some fire emojis out there because our sister, she brought the heat on this evening. And we want to forward you an opportunity to give some last words. And after that, we'll close out after you give your last words. What would you like to say to those who are listening to you that's experiencing traumatic things on this evening?
Absolutely, brother. I want to thank you, and I gotta say this right. IYPL movement. How do I say that? Help me out, please.
Pele.
Okay, Pele. See, that's why we got to get connected so we can learn our own language, okay? As we speak in a language that don't belong to us, so when we hear our own language, we're like, wait, what are we saying here? You know, first and foremost, I want to thank you and your beautiful wife for sharing a
You
platform
welcome,
with
family.
Repair of the Black Family, and understanding that this very important topic that we're talking about as it relates to mental health, that it's key that you take time out for yourself. It's key to understand that you have the power to redefine anything that you're going through. It's key that you speak life constantly. And when it comes to eradicating generational trauma, drama, limiting beliefs, and self-sabotaging behavior patterns, take time to be able to get somebody in your family story so that you don't repeat the cycles, and see what it is from the past that you can actually change in the present and recreate the future. Take time to love yourself, but more so take time to show love to your family. In addition to that, if you are interested in transformational life coaching, definitely get with Sister Nayyirah. I specialize in helping you to get right where you are. And last but not least, heal on purpose.
Wonderful. Very well said. Very well said. Brother David, King David, we want to definitely give honor where honor is due. I thank you so much, Brother David Muhammad, for reaching out to me and presenting your wonderful wife, to the ministry, because you know the gift that's in your wife. So, brother, I want to salute you. You remind me of the husband in Proverbs chapter number 31, where it talks about he praises his wife out in the public. Salute, King. You're a true warrior, man. We send love to you all. Hey, family, thank you all so much for tuning in to the EY Pele Movement Ministry on this evening. We have our programs every Sunday and Thursday at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook and on YouTube. And we would love to have you. And please, for those who follow us, please go follow our good sister, follow her husband, and follow the work that they're doing. Because as we always say, we live the way we think. Thank you all for tuning in. You have a blessed rest of your evening, and may your week be the same. We are getting ready to get out of here.